Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and we're finally back. We've run into so many issues the last week, but it's finally time to talk about the Game Awards, or rather, not the Game Awards specifically, but the lack of Smash getting a DLC character revealed and a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. Why weren't they there? A lot of us expected, myself included. I've been predicting this since E3, yet it did not happen, so I'll take the L there. I was wrong. But a lot of people were wrong, especially with Smash Bros. A lot of us thought it was a given, yet it obviously wasn't because it didn't show up. Sure, it got nominations and it won Fighting Game of the Year, but I'm talking about actual new content being shown off. There was no DLC trailer for the final character in the Fighters Pass. Why not? Let's talk about that. So before we talk specifically about why they weren't there, I think we should talk about what was there. We got a DLC trailer for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. We also got a No More Heroes 3 trailer, which I think is pretty good, especially if you watch that extended trailer that wasn't actually shown off at the Game Awards. Check that out, it's really good. And then we also got the announcement for Bravely Default 2 coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2020 as well. So those are some pretty good announcements, but definitely not on the level of Smash or Zelda. And I think that's the issue here. It's Smash and Zelda. They probably don't really need the spotlight. I think, honestly, the situation is that Bravely Default 2 and No More Heroes 3 needed spotlight, so that's probably why Nintendo went ahead and showed those games off as opposed to Smash or Zelda. If Smash or Zelda were shown off at the Game Awards, I don't think that would have impacted sales in any way, shape, or form. Sales for both games are going to be amazing regardless. They are already known quantities. No More Heroes 3 and Bravely Default 2, for a lot of people, especially at the Game Awards, they didn't know what those games were, so getting those games shown off probably will help to boost sales when they do come out in 2020. So that's pretty much why I think that's what happened. Now, obviously, hindsight's 2020, that's what Nintendo went with. But a few other possibilities, I guess, that I could mention is that maybe one, Nintendo didn't want to show off Zelda and Smash next to the Xbox Series X, I guess, although I don't really feel like it would have taken away too much spotlight from each other. I think they're different enough and people would have cared about both. But then the other possibility is simply that it's Nintendo and they're hard to predict, and that's pretty much it. Nintendo likes to march to the beat of their own drum. They do things differently. They like to break patterns and precedents. So yeah, you could predict the obvious with Nintendo and then they'll go ahead and not do the obvious. That's just what it is with Nintendo. So maybe that's what it is. But I'm going to stick with they basically just wanted to give the spotlight to No More Heroes 3 and Bravely Default 2 as opposed to Smash or Zelda, which the spotlight at the Game Awards would not have helped those games in any way. They're already going to sell amazing. So then, when will we see these two games shown off again? When will we get the next DLC trailer for Smash Bros? I think it's actually really soon. I think it's probably going to be in a January Nintendo Direct. We usually get a major Nintendo Direct early in the year. If it's not going to be January, it's going to be February. And the deadline for this current Fighters Pass is February. So yeah, it's got to happen really soon. That's pretty much an inevitability. It's just one character. I think the odds of it being delayed are just really low. It's just one character and they've done so well with all the other characters already. And Terry came out in November. The difference between one character and another coming out is usually about a month and a half to 2.5 months. So if Terry came out in November and they were already confirming development for further DLC beyond the Fighters Pass, I'm thinking that the development for Fighter 5 is going along smoothly and it's definitely on schedule and it will probably be announced really soon. I'm betting a January Nintendo Direct, and if it doesn't come out in January, it will come out early February before the deadline for this first Fighters Pass. So what about Zelda? When will we see Zelda again, the sequel to Breath of the Wild? Well, that I think is a tougher question because we don't know when Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out for sure. I'm confident that it's coming out holiday 2020, but that's not a fact, right? Even if Nintendo announces that it's 2020, considering the history of Zelda game delays, until the game is actually out, I think, you probably should be a little bit skeptical about when it's going to come out. But I'm still going to say holiday 2020 is the best bet, and there are several reasons why. I've made videos on this already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. You can check those videos out. But basically, this is a sequel that's already using the engine for Breath of the Wild, so they've already gotten the engine down. They're just putting in content and optimizing, so that's going to speed up development significantly. This game's been already in development since holiday 2017, so that's already quite a while. Not to mention when we saw the trailer, the first trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, it was a story trailer. story is always developed really late into a Zelda game's development cycle, so I think this game is very far along, and Nintendo usually, at least for most games nowadays, save for a couple exceptions like Metroid Prime 4, when they are announced, they come out pretty soon after. The latest we usually see is like a year and a half, and if Zelda were to come out holiday 2020, that would be a year and a half. Not to mention, guys, there are other leakers that have come out and said that the internal plan for Zelda's release is 2020. So while those are just rumors, I would say from the leakers that we're talking about, they have pretty good track records. So I'm going to say that, considering all the other things I just brought up, in my opinion, make it pretty likely the game's coming out holiday 2020. So assuming it is coming out holiday 2020, I think we're probably going to see it one more time before E3. And my reasoning for that is similar to Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing was not actually shown off until E3, even though supposedly the game was coming out in 2019. Fans were wondering why it didn't show up at the early year Nintendo Direct or the spring Nintendo Direct. And it seems the reason why was because the game got a delay. When we finally saw it at E3 last year, or this year technically still, it was delayed. So if we don't see Zelda, I'm thinking until E3, it probably is going to be delayed, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see it again in either this big January Direct that I'm theorizing about, or a spring Nintendo Direct. And if it doesn't show up at either of these two Directs, which I do think is a strong possibility of, it could still be shown off at E3 and it could still come out holiday 2020, but I think my confidence in that will have dropped below 50% if we don't see it all the way up until E3. But those are my thoughts on the matter. I'm thinking that the reason why these games weren't shown off was because Nintendo wanted to give the spotlight to No More Heroes 3 and Bravely Default 2, and we will be seeing the Smash DLC shown off in a January Nintendo Direct, and Zelda will probably show up at least one more time in either of the two major Nintendo Directs before E3, assuming it's still coming out holiday 2020. But those are just my thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that maybe the Smash DLC could be coming out in January, or at least shown off in January? And what about Zelda? Do you think Zelda will be shown off at least one more time before E3? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Have a good one.